No lawyer too.
Our deputy city attorney's online. So.
Okay, just want to make sure. All right. All right, call order. Can you roll call, please?
Sure. Commissioner Barron, Commissioner Rana, Vice Chair Walton.
Here.
Chair Woodson.
Here.
Commissioner St. John.
Here.
Commissioner Chegg.
Yeah.
And Commissioner Jacobson is absent today. You have quorum, Chair Woodson.
Thank you. All right, we can do a moment of silence and for the week. That's your last time. I'm here. What you did, what you forget. All right, next up is we have special announcements or communications from the floor. Do we have any special announcements? We don't even have mice. Okay. No mice. Mice. We have nobody. We have the plan, had a plan. Would you like to speak to that?
I'm
In the general
speaking
section?
later on. You guys can
Just good
keep
enough.
going.
Try it. Seth, would you like to say anything? Just it's like. All right, now next up is ex parte communications for quasi judicial matters. Do we have anybody from the commission? Say. Nope. All right. Okay, next up. So we have is this presentation and proclamation for vice chair. So why don't we all go down front? Up. Come down to the front. It's very simple. We've done this before. Out of your chairs. Come behind me. Behind me, right there. There we go. Now we've got it. Okay. Do that later. All right, so we'll finish this. So this is our last meeting with Vice Chair Walton in town. Vice Chair Walton in town. Which is him. So today is our last meeting with Vice Chair Walton, who is not extending her time on the Planning Commission today. So in honor of her years of service, it is years of service. Do you guys how long? 5 years. Yes. Whereas Audra Woodson starting her Audra Woodson, we are now. Oh my gosh, I can't read. All right, I'm going to start over. Proclamation. I would not be happy about that.
Sorry.
She's not here. Honoring Vice Chair Audra Walton for her time on the Marina Planning Commission. Whereas Audra Walton started her service on the Planning Commission on February 2021. It has been 5 years. And will end her service on January 2026. And whereas Commissioner Walton has served as Vice Chair of the Planning Commission, and whereas Commissioner Walton has been a strong advocate for equity and justice on the Planning Commission, and whereas Commissioner Walton was instrumental in ensuring the 5th and 6th cycle elements were approved by the city in an expeditious manner. Big word, Guido. And whereas Commissioner Walton has consistently been a diversity, equity, and inclusion advocate while on the Planning Commission, ensuring projects and policies represent the rich cultural diversity of the city of Marina. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Glenn Woodson, Chair of the City of Marina Planning Commission, do hereby express my sincere appreciation and gratitude for Audra Walton's dedication and commitment to the city, and congratulate and wish her the best and continued service in her future endeavors. Dated this 22nd day of January 2026, signed by me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you.
All right, so we have to get a picture now.
Got a picture. Thank you all.
Okay, next up, we have the consent agenda, which is approval of the minutes from January 8th. Are there any changes that any of the commissioners have to the minutes? Okay, if not, can we take a vote? We go?
So,
Well, no, make a motion.
yeah.
Oh, kidding. Somebody like to make a motion on the minutes? Okay, Commissioner Chang makes a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, and Vice Chair Walton seconds. There we go.
Very good. Commissioner Baird? Commissioner Rana?
Yes.
Vice Chair Walton?
Yes.
Chair Woodson?
Yes,
Commissioner St. John?
Yes.
Commissioner Chang?
Yes.
Motion passes.
thank you. All right. Next up, we have one public hearing today or on the agenda. That is for the new Marina Mini Mart conditional use permit has been continued. So we don't even have that today, so I can't read. So that will be next month.
Technically, you're supposed to make a motion to continue it because the theory is that a member of the public should be able to pull up the agenda and the minutes and say, oh, where did this item end up? And it's going to end up on the February or the.
Okay.
It says
So would
February.
somebody like to make a
Yeah,
motion?
let me I'll make a motion to continue the mini mart conditional use permit item until the next meeting on February 12th, 2026.
Okay, we have a second.
Sounds good. Commissioner Baird, Commissioner Rana, Vice Chair Walton,
Yes.
Commissioner Chair Woodson,
Yes.
Commissioner St. John.
Yes,
Commissioner Chang.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, next up is informational items. We have 3 items that we were going to cover today. Rito, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. And first of all, I just want to say, normally the commissioners who've been with me for a while know that if I have a super light agenda, I don't make you guys come here. But this one is actually mission critical. We're applying for a $4.5 million grant to clean up part of Cypress Knolls. We applied last year. We hired a new consulting firm to maybe beef up our points. And a grant requirement is you have to have a public meeting before you apply for the grant. I did this last year to the council, but the timing didn't work out because I was still working on the grant. Anyways, so you guys are gracious enough to be here today. So unfortunately, this is a procedural requirement. So I really appreciate you volunteering your time. So just a little bit of background of what this is, the Cypress Knolls site. It's basically when you're driving down Imgen, behind the VTC, behind MCWD, there's a huge acre. It's 188 acres. It used to be military housing. Back in 08, 09, there actually was an EIR for about 844 senior housing units. There was some litigation. The developer dropped out. So the site does contain an existing road system. There are remnants of former Fort Ord housing. There is natural topography out there, and there is endangered gilia out there, further complicating this. That's for another conversation. So if the city was being lazy and just wanted to make a bunch of cash, we could have probably found 20 developers to sell this to and made a whole bunch of money. But it's been a kind of a charge of the city to do the harder route, which is let's try to make this a missing middle housing project. In the general plan, which this commission will look at later this year, there is policy language in there as well to say we want to make this a missing middle housing project for anywhere to 1,500 to 2,000 units for, working class folks, first year firemen, police officers, teachers, that kind of thing. The problem is all of those old army barracks are full of asbestos and lead. And unlike a normal house on a normal street here, you can't just demo these barracks because they have all this contamination in them. You have to do all these special procedures to deconstruct it, then tear it down, then bring it to special landfills. All of that adds to the costs. And so it's a pretty significant amount of money. So the last couple of years, we've just been trying to apply for grants. So that's where we are as of today. So if you guys recall in 23, we had the APA committee come and we had a joint meeting with the council to talk about the visioning. That visioning document is on the city website. I then applied for REAP money from AMBAG, and we were unsuccessful with that. Congressman Jimmy Panetta came out to visit the site. His staff was instrumental in connecting us with some EPA folks. As part of his efforts, we got a $300,000 targeted grant. And we already knew the site was contaminated, but this just helped us. They took samples from about 64 properties And it was confirmed that there was higher levels of lead and other stuff around the building and presumably for the rest of the property. So we applied last fall for a cleanup grant. We were unsuccessful. There was only one given out for all of Region 9, which is all of the western states. And in order to score, you had to get 167 points out of like 172. It's like basically a perfect score. So Lane, the city manager, was like, hey, why don't we try this other firm that our public works director has had success with? So I've been working with them. Hopefully we can get our points up. But with only one being given through the whole Western region, it's, we'll see how that goes. So working with the US EPA staff, they were like, hey, you need to do another community meeting. It's like, well, we already did one. No, you need to do that one this year. So grants due next week. So that's why you're here. Yes, the US, it's a brownfield critical initiative grant. Only 10 are given out nationwide. It's really done to perform hazardous material abatement. And if we can get the grant, then we can hopefully use it as a springboard to get other grant funding to help clean up the Cypress Knolls area. Somebody's texting me, make sure it's not the deputy city attorney. Okay, sorry. No. So really, that's why we're here. I'm glad to answer any questions. And then there's really not a formal role per se of the planning commission, just to have the forum. And obviously we have tons of people in the audience wanting to speak on this. I'm being sarcastic. So really just here to answer any questions and yeah, look forward to having some dialogue about this.
Sir, but my first one was, and I'm guessing it's worth noting, did the EPA actually sit down and give any type of quick review assessment to anybody?
They did. They were very actually gracious with their time. There were some, they couldn't speak to us at some times because it was still during the contract period when they gave it to other people. But after that period, they actually sat down and gave us some good insight, which I gave to the second grant writing team. It was a little bit more about explain a little bit more in detail the need and how it fits in with the overall plan for the city and how, what kind of resources have had to be expended. Because as the commission's aware, I've been here 4 years and the whole time I've been here, it's been a pretty significant issue with homeless, unhoused folks, burning down some of these buildings to get different metals or whatnot, or copper wire. And then the fire and police department have to expend quite a bit of resources to go out there. So we were able to put that kind of data together. So hopefully that helps us with our points this time. So
The only other one I have is, given the change in the administration, did the application itself change in formatting and?
it did change significantly.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to.
There was quite a bit in last year's grant application during the previous administration about demonstrating how the grant would affect different income levels. There was a DEI section of the grant that got taken out. There were 2 or 3 other parts, but those are the ones that come to mind. So,
Okay. Any other commissioners have questions? Sure.
I'm hoping that you. With respect to our congressman, can you give us some details into what he's done to help with or assist with outside of his staff and what you were just explaining about the grant? What else, what advocacy work has he done in helping us? Can you just give us?
so the congressman has been very helpful. His staff connected us with some of the higher upper management at the US EPA.
Mhm.
That $300,000 grant that we got to further verify the contamination, that was very helpful to help bolster our
Right.
points. We were able to get some letters of support
Good.
from his office that we added. So they've been very helpful.
Well, I'm hoping that he continues to be helpful and even more helpful in the future. just as a, last time I'm gonna be up here, bless you. The last time I'm gonna be up here, I just wanted to make sure that our congressman is absolutely helping and assisting Marina in every single way, shape, and form, and especially with Cypress Mills.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. For these 64 deteriorating properties, how much money are we looking for?
How much? I'm sorry.
For this particular task?
Right.
involving 64 barracks. How much money are we looking for?
The maximum grant amount is about 5 million. So we're trying to get as much of that as we can. So
5 million for destroying the 65. or
Yeah.
disposing of. That is substantial amount of money. I mean, a new house, coming up in place of these. Um, Okay, I think I'll leave it here.
okay.
Yeah, that is my concern that $5 million just to kind of clean up. I do that if it is.
Well, yeah. So and just like I said, if you and two commissioners just went to go get a bulldozer, it wouldn't cost that much to knock out these homes. But because they're full of lead and asbestos and all these other contaminated dirt, that's why it costs so much, because we have to off haul, and I don't know the exact amount, but like 18 inches of dirt around all of these sites. And then each building, you have to take apart almost by hand some parts of the buildings. And then you have to put a tent around some of them because you don't want the asbestos to be released
Yeah,
when you
so
demo it. So all of that, and then once that's all done, then you can't just bring it to the landfill down the street. You have to take it to special landfills that dispose of the material. So to answer your question, it is a lot of money, but that's because of all of those extra procedural steps. So
actually, it's a low amount.
Continuing.
Yeah.
We had similar issues with some of the other Fort Ord localities. And did we really kind of spend that kind of money for cleanup?
yes, somehow I was, some of that was before my time. I'd have to go back and look. So.
That's,
Just, that's why I'm asked, that's why I said what I said about the congressman and all that, because
that's actually, so if you haven't been in
Before and all
the
that.
homes, last time I was back in that neighborhood was probably 2.5 years ago. I don't think, very few of the homes at this point still have their ceilings in place. Most of them over 30 years of non-occupancy have gotten to the point where the ceilings have now failed and all the insulation in those homes was blown. And so that means that all the insulation at this point, which is friable insulation, is now pretty much sitting 6 inches to 18 inches deep in the hallways and in the, especially in the hallways areas. And that came about because over the last 30 years, and it's accelerating over the last 10 years, especially, the theft of materials has accelerated. And so they pretty much stripped all of the homes of every bit of copper wiring, anything that would draw a profit has now been stripped out of those homes. And in the process, they don't care where they get the wire, they just need to pull the wire. So they've just been ripping it apart. I mean, I think the first time I ever went back there was probably 15 years ago. And it was still in relatively good shape. It is absolutely not at this point. And I think the entire construction cost last time I saw was running around 28 million.
Yeah,
And I'm assuming that that's actually gone up probably slightly.
probably.
and it's just gonna get worse, and the parking,
So,
sorry,
no, it's fine.
is just gonna increase. And if Fora and our congressman at the time and several other people in leadership positions had moved differently, we might not be sitting here the way that we are with all of that, but we did it. And Fora has been sunsetted, and we have a new congressman, right, we had a whole new city council from way back then. And I'm so proud of the city staff and the amount of projects that you guys have been able to streamline, make easier, make it so what is it called? User interfaces have become accessible to a larger amount of people. And I'm really excited to see what you guys are going to be able to do with Cypress Knolls. And I really, really hope that you receive this grant. I know that it's a drop in the bucket of the amount of money that's necessary to clean up Cypress Knolls and to make it ready for a developer to come and put in its bid. But kudos and congratulations for getting this. And I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I'm sure anything else? It's okay. Said Woodson earlier, so. Commissioner Chang?
Thank you, Chair. Director Quindle, I have 4 questions. Number 1 is the grant you're applying is 5 million, correct?
Yeah,
And the cleanup cost is 12.9 to 13.5.
yeah.
So how are you going to cover the difference?
Well, when we started this process 2 years ago, and I don't know if it's changed because of administrative change, but they did tell us that if we're able to get the first batch, that makes us competitive for the next batch. So hopefully that's, and then hopefully the idea is if we can get this money, then that could spur us to get other grant funding and maybe state opportunities or, take it from there. So.
Is there any plan B in case it's a grant, you didn't get it?
Yeah, if we don't get it this time, then I'll probably have to talk to the city manager and then we'll have to, there are different opportunities. There are Mello-Roos districts you can create. There are community facility districts that you can create. There are different ways. But even on the community facility districts, the city has to put in a little bit of seed money to kick off a financing district to get this done. And I don't know, that's more of a city manager type decision, that a little bit above my level. So, yeah, so that would be plan B.
Okay, I hope you could get it. The other question I know is cleaning up the old barracks is a very difficult task because of a lot of hazardous material.
Yeah,
And you have to be contained instead of exposed. When they demolish it, it cannot be just in the open air.
that's my understanding.
And so I believe you have a cleanup plan when you get it.
Yeah, that'll all be part of the, if we get the funds, we'll work with the contractor. They specialize in this stuff.
And also in this plan, you are building about 1,500 to 2,000 units of houses, and the thing is that's a big growth in that area. And how about the infrastructure capacity that we had able to cope up with this additional houses?
Yeah, so that would be kind of further down the road. If we can get the funds to clean up the site, that's kind of phase 1. And then we would have to spend some money to do a master plan, like a general plan for that area.
Right.
And then whoever we end up partnering with, there would have to be some pretty significant upgrades to the infrastructure because all that infrastructure out there is now 31 years old. Right. So that all gets factored into what gets built and how. And so, yeah.
That's why it's not just only this program, but I think it's going to affect the whole infrastructure of the city, and you have to look at the master plan again.
Right.
And so.
And just for the rest of the commission, we will be bringing the draft general plan policies to the commission later this year. And there are specific policies in there that speak to what Commissioner Chang's saying, which is the city will endeavor to prepare a master plan and look at ways to support missing middle housing. That will be codified in the future general plan as well. So,
And the last one is, I want to know is what kind of timeline we are looking at?
so last year we applied around this time and we didn't find out until May or June. It took a while for the feds to get back to us. So,
To finish the whole program, do you have any kind of idea how long?
I thought it was you had to expend the money within 3 to 5 years, but I'm so focused on just applying for the grant. If we're fortunate to get it, then I'll have a better idea. I thought it was you had to expend within, a reasonable period of time, but so.
Anything else we could do to help you to get the grants?
Yeah, without getting too political, I mean, we are in California right now in terms of federal money. That affects money that goes to different states. So, yeah,
Thank you.
so.
That's all I have, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Guido, just to follow up a little bit on the discussion, the grant would be a maximum available of 5 million.
5 million.
Right. And the estimated, the current estimate of cleanup costs, restoration costs, the hazardous situation for the whole 188 acres. In the handout, you had about 13 million.
Yeah, yeah.
But is that 2026 dollars or?
That was the estimate from when we applied last year, so it might have gone up by a little bit.
Okay,
So, yeah.
so it is in the ballpark of 13 to 15.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Would clean up the site.
I have to go back and because it's actually 50 to 80,000 per unit to clean up. And there's 200 out there, so I'd have to do that math. So, yeah. So the long story is this doesn't get us to the full goal. But as I
It's in the
mentioned,
ballpark of almost cleaning it up.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. So right now, so when I started with the city, there were 220 barracks out there. And when I first started, they had demoed 20 of them. And I can't remember. Oh, I think that was for the Hayes Circle project. And now we're down to 200. So then if we can get money for the 64, then we're not quite halfway there, but we would make some progress, right? And then, as I mentioned, when we met with the US EPA folks 2 years ago, they had said, getting the money makes you more competitive for the next batch of grant funding. So,
let me go back in history, probably before your time, but maybe you have some insight. Or say Sea Haven, was there any cleanup required in Sea Haven, and was that part and parcel of the contractor's responsibility? Or did the city have to do the cleanup?
that was a little bit before, Commissioner Woodson might have some
Developer
insight.
took care of it. So to kind of get some background on the entire area, Hatton. Now, every city owns got the
Right,
eastern edge, northern edge of the city. That actually is all of this housing. So that subdivision started at reservation pretty much, and then ran all the way to one. And it ran against the back boundary line of Fort Ord. When Fort Ord closed, that area was subdivided out into smaller neighborhoods. So Schoonover went to CSUMB, so that's the southern side, of England. That's all the CHUMB owns, and student housing and faculty housing. The north-south, northern side is what the city owns and rents out and manages.
Patton.
And then that picks up, right. And then that picks up at what is now Sea Haven.
Mhm.
That had, I mean, when we first moved here 10 years ago, that hadn't started.
Okay.
There were still quads
Mhm.
that were sitting across the entire neighborhood.
Mhm.
So the developer pulled it all that was built into their costs, just like the dunes with the barracks on Second Avenue.
That's what I
So-
was, yeah.
This is, Cypress Knolls is a secondary area that if we turn it over to the developer, yes, the developer could build it into their costs to do. I'm speaking a little bit out of turn probably for context, but the city, because the city wanted to maintain more direct control over how that property is going to be used, we have also by default then therefore maintained the housing responsibility. And so that's where we're at now. So it could go to a new developer. The challenge that I think we run into in today's environment, that's many years ago, is that with Sea Haven and the dunes, those were built into the site-specific plans.
Right.
And we don't have a site-specific plan for site development. So we would have to create one, and then it will be a better marketing to get what we want. It would be better if you have it taken care of.
Right.
challenge-
And then the chair, Woodson reminded me that there was some blight funding for removal after Fort Ord left, but I believe that's been expended as part of the Dunes and Sea Haven
It was.
project. That's my understanding from
It
talking
is.
to Karen Tiedemann.
Frankly, it was a travesty. Department of Defense unloaded all of the installation. And this is not just restricted to. This was across the country. Fort Ord was happening. The challenge of Fort Ord is that Fort Ord had the largest housing area in all of Department of Defense at the time. So this was their biggest problem. And there are three things that led to its closure and put on the blacklist. Four things. Number one, the Department of Defense was told, the Army was told, you will close a major installation. So they had to close a post and so they narrowed it down. So that was a criteria. But then the two biggest things here were the airfield wasn't long enough to support the readiness brigade mission. So they couldn't now, today they could get C-17s in here, but those hadn't come on yet. And they really didn't want to do that. So, so the hall mission was a big criteria. The housing though was the number two criteria. Because the housing was all mostly Weary housing that was built under the Senator Weary Senate appropriations bills in the 1950s. As homes had gone through 2 or 3 iterations of redevelopment. In fact, they went through a set in the late 80s. The challenge is that those only had a 20-year lifespan before they were 20 to 30 years before they need to be refurbished again. And the Army looked at that scale and said that that is a scale that they did not want to take on as a burden. Now, there's an argument of whether that was fictitious or not, but it's irrelevant. That's actually what they chose. So the cost of living in Monterey indirectly is what caused it there, because there just aren't enough, there weren't enough community homes in the area to support a garrison division requirement of 27,000 soldiers.
If you had been back there, what does the Army call field training exercises?
Field training exercises.
FTX. So back in the day when this was a live base, and since we're in history, when they would have those field training exercises and the live bombing runs and all, oh my God, it was so loud here in the night. And I'm sad and happy that you guys all got to miss living through the sounds of FTX training on Fort Ord.
There was all sorts of cool stuff. This is not for tonight. We could probably have a history lesson afterwards. We can get a historian to come in and talk to the commission about the history of, would be kind of neat to
Yeah,
do.
I can, yeah, if
it
you
would be
guys
kinda
have,
neat because-
If-
No, we
you
could be able to
can
call in.
come from Michigan, you can zoom in.
Zoom
That's
in.
fine. You're a member of the public. if the commission has some context, to let me know, I would be glad, I would actually learn from that experience as
It's
well.
actually really interesting, like the latest one that I'm doing. And then are there any other comments that they want to add?
I
Okay,
didn't
Chair,
fin-
can I?
why don't you go ahead and finish?
Okay,
No.
Guido, changing gears a little bit, but staying on Cypress Knolls.
Yeah,
Within the last 3 or 4 years, we've had public workshops. A couple of them to my memory,
uh-huh,
at least two, where the public was invited to spend some time. It was in the
community center.
community building
Yeah,
right on this campus.
yeah,
And I attended those and we developed some very broad community input into concepts of what the general plan for Cypress Knolls could be. And this was just a start to hand off to a planning
firm,
firm.
yeah.
Did that go any further?
Absolutely. So as I've mentioned in the draft general plan that you guys are going to be looking at, all that language, all that community input will be in the draft general plan that you guys will look at. And if, barring any major edits, that stuff will stay in the general plan and that will become the kind of land use constitution and the draft general plan map, which you and the council approved last January. In the draft map, it shows Cypress Knolls, and on the map, I can show you in my office. It shows Cypress Knolls master plan. So the whole vision is captured, and yeah,
Okay, then I would like to propose that we have a plan C. If plan A is to get the funding
Right.
from the federal government to clean it up, which sounds like it might take 2 or 3 iterations of that. If you're
yeah,
truly into the 20 or $30 million ballpark.
right,
And we could only chop it off at the most as 5 billion a year from that grant. Anyway, so I forgot exactly what plan B was.
So we,
so right now the options are apply for the grants, right? The other options are to create a community financing
Oh, yeah,
district,
right.
which is basically
Just bond money.
bond money,
Right,
basically,
which would
right?
put the burden on the
The city,
general.
yeah, right. But with the bond measure going now, it's not likely to go for
Not likely.
several years, so.
So anyway, maybe a plan C would be to bite the bullet and let it be built into a contractor's cost.
Okay,
Because we probably could get more than one contractor interested in that 188 acres.
I think the city is actually it's already budgeted as part of the community sessions 2 and 3 years ago on the priority. They did prioritize some of the cleanup over time. I mean, I think they had a goal of 2035 to get it all done, which is amazing and fast how quick that's going to come because we're 10 years out and it was 13 years before.
yeah,
So I think, yes, to all this, to keep this on track. Not that I don't enjoy talking about this because I do think like it's not a very cool subject. This is about the brownfield proposal. So,
okay,
and also because I can also feel myself starting to
Get excited.
wane a little. No, I'm health wise.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
pretty wasted today.
I'll
So-
close off. Thank you.
Okay. But Commissioner St. John, I do appreciate the input, and if you want some further, we can just swing by the office and we can definitely brainstorm and, yeah,
And then maybe we can actually bring this up as a topic of discussion, just as open one in a future meeting.
Absolutely.
In the next couple months, where it's actually geared towards Cypress Knolls development versus just this.
Mhm.
Because it is our last Cypress Knolls will be our last big, it is our, probably our last big major development period in the city. If now that we got Sea Haven and Heights and we've got everybody and Dunes and.
Yeah, I would benefit, and I think the commission would, if we were to have a, maybe later in the year, if the commission wants some type of Cypress Knoll study session, because in addition to the cleanup issues, there's Gilead out there.
Yeah.
Right? And then layered on top of that is this, they updated the Surplus Land Act. So the city owns the property. And if we want to do anything with it, we have to go through this very strict state law procedure of, if we were, say, to partner with a developer to build it, we have to go through this very strict process of, we have to tell people the land's available, then they have to bid on it, and we have to confer with the state on it. So there's actually, the reason why it hasn't been developed is it's a very complex project. So I think the commission would benefit from some type of layered discussion later in the year. So, Okay.
Like end of April.
sure.
Calendar. And as part of that, can we also include the piece of open space that's between, I guess, 3rd and 4th Street, where the old shop at and gas station was? That's kind of an open area. Basically, it's that little carve out of that little. If you look at the map,
That's fine.
it's that to the rest of the group, it's that little triangle at the bottom, right over here. That's kind of carved out. That's an open space area. That was part of the cleanup. That was an old shopette. That was the shopette, one of the 2 shopettes in the neighborhood and gas station. And that's been remediated, but we can also kind of talk about why that isn't part of the Cypress Knolls. It's all just open. It's an open space. Anyway, but yeah, we can do that. We'll talk about the whole property, that whole region, that whole area. That gets into he's also pointing to the area west on the berm. And that gets into the 2nd Avenue development and bypass. That was originally slotted to go through there. So initially the 2nd Avenue was supposed to come up and over and then cut back down. And that's kind of died on the vine at this point. All right. No further comments?
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair.
No,
I,
right there.
no question, but I just want to say something. Over here, they say the city intend to develop the site into missing middle housing to provide up to 1,500 to 2,000 residents that are affordable for middle income workers and family.
Yeah.
I think that is a great vision. I think the community need to know the city has done a very good job in making, thinking of those middle income family
Yeah.
and make housing affordable. Not every city will do that.
Right.
I think the city of Marina is like to see the city of Marina taking the lead on this.
Yeah.
And not to give it to a developer to come in. And so I just want to say thank you to you, Director Kundo, for doing this. And
Yeah, well,
appreciate
it comes from the city manager and the city council. They're providing that leadership. Like I said, if they wanted to make a whole bunch of cash, they would just sell it. Each property would be worth $2 million. And it would just look like every other city on the peninsula here. But the city manager and the city council have a vision to make this
that.
something for
yeah.
our missing middle folks. So,
Well, I hope this will set a good example for other cities as well, because in the city planning, I think a lot of time we forgot about the affordable housing for middle income or low income family.
yeah,
Thank you.
no problem. The next items are very simple. Every year I come to you guys in January to go over kind of the work plan for housing element items. The last 3 years, I probably have brought, 9 or 10 different actions, but you guys are so awesome and the council's been so supportive. No, we just had to have the meeting. That was it. It's okay, as long as we have the meeting. So if you go past the presentation, it's in the packet of housing element action items. The commission and council have been so supportive. We're actually down to the last handful of, and we're only 4 years into housing element. So we're doing good work. We'll go over with you guys, and we'll be bringing with, So we do have a lot of faith-based and institutional properties in Marina. That those are usually very large properties that could be ripe for affordable housing. So I've been working with Rincon. They've done this in other cities where if a church agrees that their property wants to be part of our project, then potentially we could pre-zone the site and there could be affordable housing on the property. If you turn the page, program 2.3, this one is the one that Bryce presented to you guys that I need to take to council that just identifies what are some more cost-effective ways to build housing. So that one will be taken to council soon. Next page is I need to update our BMR policies to ensure that people have the first right of refusal and right of return for their units. And then 9.2 is actually a really important policy I'll be bringing to you guys probably later in the year. Identifying things we can do to make sure people are not displaced from our city. Zach, our intern who's now left us, he helped do a lot of the research here. A lot of this is really important. So like if you're an elderly person, one thing that can displace somebody is maybe they need a ramp or they need a little minor home repair. So proposing potentially a minor home repair program that we could partner with the county on. That's a way to not displace elderly people, to keep them in their home. So there's other strategies you can do to have anti-displacement. Yeah, very few items for this upcoming year, and I'll be bringing these items to you guys in the next 6 to 9 months. So.
Just one question.
Yeah.
You know, on the last item, you talked about the displaced,
Anti-displacement.
right? It dawned on me that there was a permit that we approved in the last year and a half or 2 years on Del Monte to build 2 large apartment units. Del Monte and Beach area.
Oh yeah.
But in that property, there was existing maybe a dozen residential, old rundown residential units.
Yeah.
And those were going to be demolished and the new apartments were going to be built. Does that fall into
Exactly.
the displaced people?
That's exactly the kind of stuff. So like an anti-displacement strategy could be, which I've used in other cities, is those folks who are units are being demolished, they would have first right to those new units. So that's the kind of stuff that we can do to help support people.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, so that's the kind of stuff.
Good.
And other stuff I've used in other cities is if you're a renter having access to when I worked in East Palo Alto and East Palo Alto Legal Aid Society, or so if you're a tenant and you want to know what your rights are, being able to go get some free legal advice. So we wouldn't run that. We would just have that as a policy that, we would connect people to that resource.
So, thank you. My heart's beating real fast, so I'm pausing to say this. But with respect to the long-term residents of Preston Abrams Park and displacement, I hope that the city, I would like for the city to make sure that they are sensitive to the long-term residents that have invested heavily into rentals that they'll never be able to pull equity out of, right? And they're there but the city leadership has, and you can stop me if I'm moving in the wrong direction here, but the city has said a lot of disparaging things from its dais about the long-term residents. And with respect to a displacement strategy, I think while you're working on this, maybe review those moments when the city was speaking on Crescent Park and bake something into that displacement strategy so people aren't feeling pushed out of Marina the way that my family does.
Okay, and we can certainly talk offline for more details, but yes, that's the kind of stuff that we want to be respectful of people.
Thank you.
Sure. Sorry. The last page of the agenda, program 1.2.
Those are some minor ones, yeah.
Work with legal team and better understanding AB 1397 and what specifically I need to do. And this program was supposed to be completed in 2024.
Yeah, I'm a little bit behind on that one, so
Is there any,
it was just an oversight on my part. So I'll be working with our deputy city attorney to kind of better understand that law and kind of what I need to do to kind of get that one back on track.
okay.
So
The second question is on the program 2.5.
2.5.
Right of return.
2.5. Oh, the
And
Oh,
do you
yeah.
see any legal challenges on this?
I can't speak to, I mean, except he could speak on, I mean, anything I do is up for legal, but for this stuff, I mean, we're doing something to support people. We're not in an adversarial position per se, but anything I do can be challenged. So, yeah.
Just in case if there is, I think at least you know how to address it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
Yep. So like I said, I always bring this to you guys. It kind of actually helps me stay organized. And then you're aware of kind of the policies that we'll be bringing. And then we'll talk about them and then we'll kick them up to council, hopefully for approval. So. That's it. Okay. All right, so throwing that in. Commissioner Barron, Commissioner Rana, Commissioner Walton,
Yes.
Chair Woodson.
Yes.
Commissioner St. John,
Yes,
Commissioner Chang.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thanks. Congratulations. Elevating. Now you get to sit in the hot seat and go down and have to sign everything. So. Next up is announcements,
No announcements at this time.
correspondence,
No correspondence.
and that would be adjournment. And I will use this because I get to.
Yay.